Magicians spend a lot of time trying to find selected playing cards, trying to track them down, almost like bounty hunters, trying to find these cards and bring them to justice. So here's a cool way to do this, I think, a real commercial and theatrical way to track down a selected card. Okay, now watch. So you can give the deck a little bit of a shuffle. Boom, 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 boom. You say to someone, look, let's try this. Okay, I'm going to go through the cards like this. You say stop anytime. You go through, they say stop. You go boom, fine. Say, look, I'm going to go through these cards, and I'm going to riffle here, and I want you to say stop. And you riffle, they say stop. You say, I'm going to cut right where you said, I want you to take a look at the card. And you show people the card. They keep it in mind. You say, I'm going to do this very fairly. I'm going to leave the card in the middle of the pack, put this half inside the card case. Okay? Boom. I'm going to try to track down your card. Now, I could try to track it down using these other cards, but actually I have a special card. Keep it in my back pocket. Here it is, the Bounty Hunter card. It's the Joker. Never gets the chance to play, but today it's going to get a chance. You hand this out, and when people take a close look, they see there's actually a staple. They can feel it. They can see it on both sides. There's one staple running through the middle of that Joker. And you say, fine. Say, hold it your hand. Say, I'm going to try to push the Joker down through to see what happens here. And in fact, wait a second. You say, look, I want you to examine the case, make sure that there is no funny slits, no trapdoors. They examine the case. And I say, not only am I going to hold the card, but you can put your hand on top, and you get several people to put their hand on top, and we all press down and there. Then you open your fingers to show, impossibly, the Joker seems to have melted right through the card case. Now, it's one thing to find the Joker in here, but if you can spread through the cards, and there's the Joker in the middle, okay? But as for the staple, still stapled there, but in fact now stapled to the Joker, stapled to the Joker, is the one card they selected, and everything can be closely examined. You're going to need two Jokers and an ordinary deck of cards. And what I've done is I've taken one Joker and I put a staple, boom, right through it, okay? Staple through the Joker. And this is in my pocket, let's say my back pants pocket, all right? Then I have a second Joker, and I've stapled it to a court card. The nice thing about the court card is the design of this will hide the staple, just in case when I'm showing it earlier, I don't want any flash or anybody getting ahead of me on seeing the staple. So I've made sure they're neatly aligned and stapled together like this. And then I have the deck of cards. What's cool about this trick is that you can do other card tricks, and when you want to do this trick, deck can be shuffled, etc., all you have to do is get this to the bottom of the pack, okay? Lots of ways to do that, but as long as that's on the bottom of the pack, I am ready to go. So, I start by giving the deck a cut. I can ask someone to lift off, say, I only need half the cards for this, will you lift off about half the deck? And they lift off about half the deck. I go, great. I say, thank you so much. We'll get back to that in just a second. And I say, let's do this for now, though. What I'm going to have you do, and I cut the cards, and I keep a break. And I'm keeping a break with my pinky direct between this half of the pack, the bottom half, and the stapled pair of cards, okay? Then I just riffle the corner. I'm going to use a riffle force is what it's called, because I'm going to riffle down the corner with my thumb, and when they say stop, I'm going to cut the cards, and I'm going to cut right to my pair. I don't care if they say stop up here or stop way down there, but what really helps this is you go down, they say stop, and then shift your hands. Point down just before you cut. Don't go straight up. It's better to go, when they say stop, tilt down and then lift forward, so they don't know exactly where you're cutting. Then I leave this half, this packet I should say, forward for a beat so that my hand goes down and I can lift this whole thing up and show. And notice that the tip of my middle finger is covering the staple. It's a very fair way to force the queen. Now I bring everything back together, and I make sure it's pointing down because I don't want people to see a little gap here. Make sure everything's pointing down. I'm not doing anything suspicious. I tuck the whole thing away in the card case. Very fair. It's got a beautiful flow to it, nice feel. I pick these up and I say, now I'm going to try to find the card somewhere in here. I could use one of these cards, but instead I'm going to use my special bounty hunter card or your detective card or whatever you want to say. And sometimes they'll say, you can see, look in his eyes, he looks quite mad. You would be mad too if you had a huge staple jammed through your stomach. And I hand this out and people can examine this and they see there's one staple on this card, all right? Now, this whole structure is designed to get me ready for the rub away vanish, and this is a beautiful vanish. Now you can do the rub away vanish on the table, okay? And if you hit the timing right, boy, it can look like that playing card is just vanishing. And what I'm doing, this will take some practice. It's not a hard move, but it's about the timing, is I'm pushing this off. And you don't want to just push it off a little bit. You want to push it off pretty much 3/4 of the way off, and there's this nice bend, okay? There, this hand comes over, and there's what's called a bit of a retention, because I'm going to pull this back, but I'm not just going to pull it back like that. I'm actually, as I pull back, I'm going to turn my hand over a little bit at the same time. So it's like this, okay? You can do it straight, but I find it's better for angles, and I'm all about the angles, if I'm here, here, and it's as this, sort of just as that's covering this, it pulls back and rolls away. It's a timing thing. You might want to come in like this. You might want to bring in both hands. My one piece of advice for you is to not do it simultaneously. It's confusing. Better to go 1 and then 2. Okay, so all I do is I do it on that. And I do it once for real. I say, look, if I just take it and I push it on top, in fact, wait a second, I want you to examine the case. So I do it once for real, as if I'm holding it here. Then I lift, take it back, okay? Say, examine the case. There's no trap doors and nothing funny. Then I come over and I do the move right on top of the case. Now, you can leave the cards off to the side, but if you really want to end clean, since you've done with these cards, you're here, you do the move, and you take these and you can put them in your pocket. Now what that means, if they're tucked away in your pocket, now I do the press, get a few people to press with me, lift my hands. Do not rush this moment. This is magic. Forget about the selected card. You just made a card vanish. Very pretty moment, so milk that moment. Then you go through. You can even ask somebody else to go through if you want. It's always cool when people go through, reveal the end for themselves, okay? They go through, they find, and only about now, when you start doing this, do people start going, no, no way. Some people get ahead, they realize this staple. Such a pretty moment here. Like this, people freak out. Everybody wants to examine to make sure that it really is stapled. And at that moment, you go to your pocket. And all you have to do in your pocket is thumb off the one card that's still on top, leave it behind in your pocket, bring these out, drop these on the table, and now everything can be closely examined.